Looks like silver's having another ho-hum day, but I don't care. I'm going to hang on. And I want to point out something else about, the velocity of money. Velocity of money. Basically, when money's put into the system, it's got a turnover rate. That really has to do with the money supply itself. It's not just the aggregate total of money that's out there. It's the velocity of money. And the velocity of money that's going on in the United States is at a 50-year low. 50-year low. So that's telling you something. Everybody's hoarding cash. It's like that's the argument against the metals. But then everybody's hoarding metals too. Not everybody, but the metals people are hoarding metals. Nobody wants to really spend that much. Now, obviously, you should spend on things that are going to be future benefit, like possibly food and that type of stuff. But nobody wants to spend that much. Everybody's pretty much afraid to spend. But, we got QE going on of $85 billion a month, right? Well, where's the money going to? It's not actually getting into the economy. Like that was one thing I pointed out before. It's actually just being used to buy up troubled assets and to shore up the balance sheets of banks. Actually, that's one sector of the economy that's doing good. The banking sector, especially due to all the freaking fees they charge people and stuff. That's why I said, stay the hell away from those loan sharks, basically. That's all they are. But, the argument is it going to be deflation or inflation? And I know, nobody's really trying to throw you, when people are talking about hold cash, they're not trying to throw you a curveball, but I think, in a way, both answers are almost right, but it's going to be a seesaw whiplash effect. Almost like when I was saying that thing with the tide going out, before the tidal wave. But the other thing is, like with the bonds, what's going to happen is when they start ending QE and they stop buying back the bonds and things like that, they're going to have to raise interest rates. And then it's going to be a no sale on the bonds, basically. I just want to put it in a real simplistic way. And guess what's going to happen then? Major problems. And they're going to probably resort to extreme QE, like the Japanese are doing. So there's going to be some seesaw moments in the markets. And then that's something else I want to point out for the future. We're going to see seesaw moments going to, great heights for the metals, but you're going to see some great falls too. I think it's going to be pretty erratic. That's why I'm not going to actually listen to the silver pump and dumpers too much. That's what I call them. Because when it does go up, that's what's going to get me nervous. And I will sell some. Whether I get 50 million people screaming at me, the sky's falling, what are you going to do to go to fiat? I am going to take some fiat. That's what I'm going to do. I will sell some. But not all. Because I think the situation's probably going to get way out of hand. Now, I'm not here to some people claim they want to save the middle class with silver, and I ain't here to do that. I'll tell you the truth. I don't give a shit what the middle class does, because mostly the middle class is a bunch of lemmings. I don't really give a damn about them. You can tell, that's maybe a bad attitude to have in some ways, but you know what? It's like you can't save people from themselves. That's the way I look at it. The deal with gold and silver and what's going on in the economy, it's like 101. Yeah, I know, fiat cash is important too, but it's almost like the rationale behind gold and silver is pretty clear cut. Problem is we got a lot of people that are very lazy, and they're not going to see it. And actually, usually the average person's reaction is with gold or silver, how much money did you make this week on it so I could spend it? That's really what they think. So those type of people, I don't give a shit what happens to them. But I almost consider it like the people with the gold and silver are like the inner circle. They're like the elite. They're like the shrewd players. Everybody else right now who's not doing it is a dumbass. That's why I'm not worried about them. They're the ones that I'll be selling to later. And they can laugh whatever they want. Because I don't really, I don't get nobody laughing at this shit right now. But, it's almost like, that's the usual answer. Well, how much money did you make this week on something? That's usually their answer. That's usually their question. But you know what? If those type of people are just fun, and blowing money and showing off, that's why they're screwed up. So, I don't care what happens. I hope they get caught in a vice with shit paper and it gets rammed into the earth. That's really what I think about it. So I'm not here to save the middle class. I'm only here to save the few people that have a brain. It's the way I look at it. It's exactly how I look at it, man. And most of the middle class, they don't have a brain. They don't. And they're not the middle class. They're just idiots. So, but stay with silver, stay with gold. That's what I look at it. The elite are staying with gold and silver. And, people in the middle class that are staying with gold and silver will be the new elite. Now, there's one thing I've been pointing out before a lot is this, you can see I was wearing it, is this electrifier, blood electrifier. It was actually, the current was developed by Dr. Bob Beck, PhD, a physicist. But it was off of a patent that was developed by real doctors, high-end doctors in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, New York City. I'm going to tell you one thing. I've been doing this thing to pretty much great excess, not 24 hours a day, but maybe 12 hours a day during sleep, ankle to ankle and wrist to wrist. It's actually just electrifies the blood in millionths of an amp, like hardly nothing, but it's a special current that makes it difficult for any kind of parasites and bacteria and viri to attach and infect new healthy cells. I'm going to tell you this, man. A lot of people would tell me, if I showed them that, they would say it's snake oil. Just like if I showed them silver, they look at it like, hey, well, what's that do? And you know what I say to them? Screw you, I don't care. Do whatever you want, I mean, would this thing guarantee me from never getting sick? I don't think so. Does it help for the cost? Yeah, probably. But the way I look at it is, if I took this, or if I took silver, say for instance, and I proved it to them and laid it out that this was a smart thing to do, or I did this and I showed them where it works, they're too lazy to do it. People want to be led around by the nose. So therefore, that's why we have a major media feeding them bullshit, because basically most people want to be mushrooms in the dark and be fed bullshit. That ain't me. So I'm sticking with silver, but I want to say something about this thing. And I don't sell these things. I got no financial interest in these things. I got no connection to this type of stuff. But I've been, kind of talking about these products. He's an American, or he was an American, down in Ecuador. He sells these things. I said, since I started doing this to more excessively, my energy levels went way up. It's supposed to be something way back in the papers about raising ATP in the body, which I've been working out more than 3 hours a day, high intensity cardio, like back in the old days. High intensity. So, but since I up doing this shit a lot, it's a microbe electrifier for animal use, and I'm animal, so I'll qualify for this. I'm an animal. But if I told that to somebody and they didn't want to believe it, I'd be like, do what you want. And that's exactly how I look at it with gold and silver too. Do what you want. But, I got fiat paper too, so that's the way I look at that. I'm not 100% into anything, and that's just using common sense. But when the things unwind, there's going to be a major problem. And, all the money that's being printed, or whatever, QE and all the bonds bought back and all this type of stuff, basically, that's why I gave the example of the tidal wave, but it's also like you can use another example with water. It's like water building up behind a dam. The water isn't actually in the economy yet. The money isn't flowing into the economy. It's being held in certain areas. It's being held on the balance sheets of big banks. They're never going to be able to unwind a balance sheet. When they start doing that, that money is going to actually get into the consumer's area, and prices are going to go through the roof. Absolutely astronomical. So, silver will go up a lot, I'll guarantee you, because that's going to be one financial instrument, with physical instrument, that's going to be, the light bulb's going to go on. But, I ain't worried about saving idiots that are out there freaking picking up fish, because the tide went out, Basically, I look at the non-silver holders as people like when they're chasing the Jews across the Red Sea. I'm a Jew, and I'm not a Jew, but, I'm just saying as an example. I don't give a shit. I'd be Jewish. I don't care. It wouldn't bother me none. But I'm just saying, like, I'm the Jew that's going across the Red Sea, and they're chasing after me with the army, and they're just going to go, you know? And the Goyim are going to go under. So I'm like this smart Jew that's holding physical gold and silver. And I'll guarantee you a lot of them are the ones with the brains. And they're keeping it from their wives, too. So those are the ones with extra brains. But just hang on. I mean, you're not going to have a problem in the long run. There's going to be a lot of other people will have a lot of problems. And keep your mouth shut when you start making a fortune. That's the main thing. And this, I said, this is only for the enlightened. It ain't for the masses. It's only for the enlightened. I'm totally convinced this damn thing works. So, you know, people could think it's screwy, but you know what? I already know what works for me. And I'm sticking with the plan.